All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, anywhere you are. My name is Mr. Ramosi and I'll be taking mathematics. Our topic for today is called inequalities. Inequalities and the content of what we are going to be treating on these topics are representing inequalities on number line, solving linear inequalities, inequalities and region, inequalities in two variables, and quadratic inequalities. Those are the contents we are going to be treating on this topic. These are the content of what we are going to be treating on this topic. So I implore you to pay attention and listen, and as you listen, you will gain one or two things. Now the first symbols you have to take note in this topic are called greater than. The first symbol you are seeing there is just like taking your right hand and turning it like this. This is called greater than. Then taking your left hand and turning it like this is called less than. Then we have greater or equals to, like this. Likewise, less or equals to. So those are the symbol of what we are going to be treating on this topic. Now, when we talk about inequality, like for example, it means x is greater than 3. The interpretation of what you are having there means x is greater than 3. So x is less than minus 6. That is the interpretation. As I said earlier, look at the sign for greater than, look at the sign for less than. You must take note of all these symbols used in inequality. They are very, very essential. We have x is greater or equals to minus 2. So that symbol means greater or equals to minus 2. Likewise, we have x is less than or equals to 10. So those are the symbols we make use of in inequalities. So as I said, sometimes two inequalities can be combined in a single statement. Two inequalities can be combined in a single statement. For example, as you can see here, if x is greater than 3 and x is less or equals to 14, we can combine these two statements, these two inequalities, we can combine it as a single statement, which is 3 is less than x and is less or equals to 14. Now this is what I'm trying to explain here. Look at that first statement we're having here, where we're having x is greater than 3. X is greater than 3. Simply, I can also be written as 3 is less than x. Whenever you are interchanging the second number for a first number, the sign will change. Please take note of that. It's a very important thing. Whenever you are interchanging the second value to the first value, definitely the sign will change. So I can also say 3 is less than x is also equals to x is greater than 3. So I can combine two statements of inequality together as a single statement, as seen on your screen. So now look at this again, reversing inequality. I said inequality can either be read from left to right or from right to left. Now for example, I said 5 is greater than minus 3. 5 is greater than minus 3. It can also be written as minus 3 is less than 5. Minus 3 is less than 5. As I said earlier, when you are changing the left hand to the right hand, the sign will change. Or you are changing the right hand side of right hand of the value you are having to the left hand side, the sign will change. On either way, take note of that. Look at this. I say in general, x is greater than y. It's also equivalent to y is less than x. Also equivalent to y is less than x. So these signs are very important whenever you are treating inequality. These symbols are very important whenever you are treating inequality. And then when I say x is greater or equals to y, it's also equivalent to y is less or equals to x. Y is less or equals to x. So please, all these things are very, very important whenever we are solving problem on inequalities. Those are just the introduction of what the intro of what you have to know on the topic inequality. Now the next stage you are moving to on the topic is called representing inequality on number line. Representing inequality on number line. I said suppose x is greater than 2. Suppose x is greater than 2. Definitely there are indefinite many values that x could have. I can say x could be equals to 3, 7.3, 54. Remember, x is greater than 2, so it can be any number from 2 and above. That is it, because I said x is greater than 3. Now it would be impossible to write every solution down. We can therefore represent the solution set on the number line as follows. So I can say, because we said x is greater than 3, I can't say that, oh, since x is greater than 3, I should not be writing any number greater than 3. We can say that it will be impossible to assume to solve question on that. So the best way to do this is representing it in number line, and that's what we're about to do. That is what we're about to do. Now, how do we represent inequality in number line? That is the next thing we are moving to. How do we represent inequality in number line? Now, as you can see on your screen, drawing a number line, drawing a line, then numbering it. I will start from the 0. Any number from the 0 moving to the right hand side of your equation. Definitely those numbers are greater than 0. As you can see, from is 0, any number moving to the right hand side of from the 0 are the number greater than 0. That's why we are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on, and so on. And any number from the 0 moving to the left hand side of 0, definitely those numbers are less than 0. Are less than 0. That's why we are having -1, -2, -3, and so on, and so on. Now remember, I said x is greater than 2. Suppose x is greater than 2. Definitely when x is greater than 2, so on the value of the value I'm having there is 2. So I'm picking that 2. So the orange color you are seeing on that my number line 2. So I draw a circle. Whenever you are having maybe greater than or equals to or less than or equals to, if it is having equal sign, you are going to shade that 0 you are having above 2. You are shading that 0 you are having above 2. But the number we are having there is greater than 2. So it's not having equal sign. Definitely, I'm not going to shade that 0 and putting above that 2. That orange 0 and put another 2. Then any number greater than 2, definitely the arrow is moving forward. The arrow is moving forward. So definitely, as you can see on that orange color you are seeing, so I draw a line on that circle I draw on above 2. Then I draw an arrow. it means that that number is greater than what? Greater than 2. Is greater than 2. So if I draw that arrow to the left hand side, definitely it is less than 2. So that is the first thing you have to know whenever you are representing inequality on number line. As I said earlier, a hollow circle O at 2 means that the number is at what? Pointing above. It means that the number is greater than 2. It simply means the number is greater than 2. The number is greater than 2. So quickly we move to another example. When we say x is less or equals to 3, x is less or equals to 3, definitely we are going to be having number less than 3. Number less than 3. So those are the number less than 3. But it will be very impossible for me to be writing all the number less than 3. So whenever I want to represent this in the number line, whenever we are going to be representing the number line, look at drawing your line, then definitely you write your 0. Your 0 must be there. 0, then 1, 2, 3. Those numbers will be at the right hand side of what? Moving above 0. Number above 0 will be on the right hand side. Then definitely number less than 0 will be at the left hand side of what? Of the number line. And now we are having x is less or equals to 3. X is less or equals to 3. As I said earlier, this time around we are having equal sign, less or equals to. So the O will be circled because it's having what? Equals to. Whenever you are having equal sign, you circle the O above that 3 in the orange color. So definitely when we say something is less than or equals to 3, it's going to be moving to the left hand side of our number line. Left hand side of our number line, because it is less than. What are the number less than 3? That is 2, 1, 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus, and so on. So look at where my arrow is pointing to. It means that those numbers are less than what? Are less than 3. Are less than 3. So we quickly move to whenever we are having combined inequality sign. Whenever we are having combined inequality sign, we are still on number line. We are still treating number line. So this time around, whenever we are having an inequality sign, which is they are combined, look at that. They say suppose minus 1 is less or equals to x less than 4. Minus 1 is less or equals to x less than 4. So we are having combined inequality sign together now. How do we draw a number line to represent this? How do we draw a number line to represent this? Now, as seen on your screen, we said we can represent the solution set on a number line as follow. Look at that. It said minus 1 is less than or equals to x. So definitely on that my minus 1, because I'm having less or equals to, I'm going to circle, I'm going to shade that O above that minus 1. I'm going to shade that circle, that O above that minus 1, because it's having equal sign, less or equals to. Now, what is the meaning of that? It simply means the number is within the range of minus 1 to 4, to less than 4. Minus 1 to 4. That's the meaning of that combined inequality sign symbols. That's the meaning. So now we're having minus 4, minus 1, minus 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the meaning of, those are the numbers within that range. Those are the numbers within the range. So definitely when I'm drawing my number line, it will be within that range. So above that 4, because I'm having x is less than 4, so I'm not going to shade that circle above that 4. Definitely you draw a circle and look at where I pointed my arrow. Look at where my line is. So that's how to represent a number line in this form. This is how to represent a number line in this form. So definitely, now look at this. Look at this. Now writing inequality from number line here. This type of, if I want to write this in the number line, definitely it simply means x is greater or equals to 5. Greater or equals to 5. That's the interpretation of this one on the number line, because my arrow is pointing to the right hand side of 5. That is simply means is greater than 5. And then look at the circle above it. It is shaded, so it simply means x is greater or equals to 5. X is greater or equals to 5. So now quickly I'm moving. Look at these inequality integers, because in the example above that we have looked at so far, we have assumed that the value of x can be any real numbers. The value of x can be any real numbers. Sometimes we are told that x can only be an integers. X can only be an integers that is a positive or negative whole numbers. What are integers numbers? Integer numbers are numbers that are whole numbers, which can be positive. Likewise, it can be what? Negative. It can be positive. Likewise, it can be negative. That's why we're having minus 3 is less than x, less than or equals to 5. Less than or equals to 5. These are combined inequalities. Now, what is the interpretation of this? What is the interpretation of minus 3 is less than x and less or equals to 5? Remember I said it earlier. I said, for example, let me picture out two inequality signs we're having, symbols we're having in this inequality. Minus 3 is less than x can also be interpreted as x is greater than minus 3. That's the meaning. Remember I said whenever we are reversing the value. Whenever we are reversing the second value as the first value, the sign will change. I have explained that earlier in this class. So minus 3 is less than x is also equals to x is greater than minus 3. X is greater than minus 3. And what are the value of x greater than minus 3? It simply means minus 2, minus 1, is 0, 1, and so on, like that. But remember, in this type of question here, we have been given the range of the value we are picking. We have been given the range of the value we are picking. Definitely, we are now having x is less or equals to 5. X is less or equals to 5. So definitely, what are x is less or equals to 5? That is from minus 2 to what? 5. That's the meaning. Remember, we are having minus 3 there. Minus 3 is not included because we said minus 3 is less than x. Now, if I do the reverse case of this, it simply means x is greater than minus 3. Now, if we say x is greater than minus 3, it simply means x minus 2. What are the values greater than minus 3? They are minus 2, minus 1, is 0, and so on, and so on. But we can't pick minus 3 because we said x is greater than minus 3. So values that are greater than minus 3 are minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, and so on. So these are the integers of numbers that satisfy this inequality. that is the values of from -3 less than x, less or equals to 5, less or equals to 5. The value that satisfy this are -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you observe very well, I am just picking integers number, that is a whole numbers. I'm not picking anything decimal or in form of fraction. I'm making use of whole numbers, that is integers numbers. So they are very important when we are solving inequalities. This does not mean that we can't make use of decimal numbers or fraction numbers. That's not what I'm saying. But majorly we make use of integers numbers. So this is where we're ending the class for today. So next class we are going to be treating numbers that represent in form of fraction, in form of how to solve values on how to solve value and questions on integers. Today we have just treated inequality graph, which is called number line. So that's what we have treated for today. So next class we are going to be solving examples on solution on how to solve inequality equation, on how to solve inequality equation. Thank you for your audience. Thank you for your attention, and believe you have understand one or two things. God bless you all.